Hey, Commissioner Covey.
Hey, Jeffrey, how are you doing?
Good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to
Hi.
see you too. Did I hear you were sick?
Yeah, I had had a bunch of lung problems over the years, and I was taking a medicine that had some negative effects on my liver. And so I was in the hospital earlier this week for a bit, and but as soon as they took me off the medication, I was fine.
But not COVID.
Not COVID. Yep, not COVID. So that's good.
I'm glad you're back to action, man.
Me too. Me too. I'm glad to be out of there. Hospitals. It's not a great place to rest, actually.
No, zero rest. Judge Keller, where's your porch that you're?
This is my son's porch. I'm in Austin, but
in Austin.
I was just saying, yeah, I was going to go home and get on my computer, but my grandson is sick, so they're taking him to the doctor. So I'm staying here to take care of the 2-year-old. So she'll be out here in a little bit.
Well, that keeps you young, a 2-year-old.
It does. Oh my goodness, yeah. But she can occupy herself on the porch. She has kinetic sand. It's her favorite thing. So
very
good. It should work out.
Maybe she can leave the director's report for me.
She does tend to talk a lot, so we'll have to see if this is going to work. Jeff's been on the phone with her before.
Oh yeah. Yep. I enjoy those phone calls. That's great. Hey, Judge Torres. How you doing? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Okay, I'm well. I'm glad to see that you're well.
I'm glad to be on the mend. Yeah. I'm feeling a lot better than I was. That's for sure.
Good.
Judge Keller, I'm looking forward to serving on the Judicial Council. I just got that appointment. I'm very, very thrilled about it.
I'm thrilled about it too. That's great.
Yeah, very happy.
So exciting. Yeah.
We just had my first little orientation the other day, and now we've set our first meeting. So, or obviously you know that, but I had my orientation the other day, and I knew I had Googled as much as I could about it before the chief or after the chief called me. But then when David Slayton took me through it, it was even cooler than I thought it was. So I was really excited about it.
Well, I'm glad they have orientation. They didn't have it when I was new. And I remember going to the first meeting and I was supposed to vote on all these things. And I think Linda Thomas was there then. And I didn't know I was supposed to read things ahead of time, prepare for it. And it was kind of a shock, but it's better now.
Brings me back to my first day of law school when my torts professor stood up and said, "Can you tell me the analysis on this case?" And I was like, "Oh, wait, this isn't like undergrad homework for the first day."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad you're on it.
Me too. Thank you.
Jeff, do you know if anybody else is supposed to be here?
I think we may. Let me just double check. Is that Chair Collier? I think it says Victoria Torres. Chair Collier, is that you?
Yes, sir. I'm here on behalf of Rep. Collier's office.
Oh, okay. Do you know if she's attending today or no?
I can find out for you. Give me 1 second.
And then Megan, do we have anybody else? I can't recall if Representative Smith. Oh, here he is. Here's Representative Smith. Hey, Rep Smith.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you.
How are you? Good to see
Doing
you.
well. Megan, are we expecting anybody else? I think this may be it. Is that right? I can't. The only other person I can think of is Mr. Rios.
Yeah. And so he's probably just been a little bit behind.
Okay,
I
Megan,
I can't hear you. Right.
Megan, that's everybody. Can you speak up a little bit? Sorry, it's not coming through very loud.
Oh no, that's everybody that responded to the invite.
Oh, okay, good. Do you know if we have a quorum?
We do.
Okay.
Okay, good. Then I'll go ahead and commence the meeting and ask for a roll call, please. Or do we even do that when Zoom tells us who's there? I guess. Okay.
Not a problem. The Honorable Sharon Keller.
Here.
Mr. Alex Bunnan.
Here.
The Honorable Valerie Covey.
Here.
The Honorable Brandon Creighton. The Honorable Richard Evans.
Here.
Mr. Gonzalo Rios. The Honorable Nathan Heck. The Honorable Missy Maderi.
Here, sorry.
Yeah, I see you. The Honorable Nicole Collier. The Honorable Reggie Smith.
Here.
The Honorable Sherry Raddick.
Here.
The Honorable Vivian Torres.
Here.
And the Honorable John Whitmire.
On behalf of Representative Collier's office, she said she'll be joining as soon as she can.
Okay, thank you.
But we do have quorum.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from December 3rd?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. I'm next on the agenda for the chair's report. All I have to say is I'm really glad Jeff is here. And I have nothing else to report. So I will turn it over to Jeff for the director's report.
Thank you, Judge. It's good to be here. Very good to be here. I only have a few things. The first, our legislative appropriations request. We updated that to request return of the 5% cut. The reason we did that, essentially, if you go back several months, when we filed the legislative appropriations request, the economic climate was different. We did not yet have the comptroller's budget revenue estimates. And really things have changed a little bit, and we essentially talked about it, spoke with Judge Keller about it, and realized that we might have a good chance at getting that 5% cut back. So we updated the legislative appropriations request to include that. Everything else that we've requested, with the exception of the estimated authority, is already in the introduced bills. So there are a couple of rider revisions you see in front of you, rider revisions 1 and 2, which I'm happy to talk about if you have any questions, but both of those were included in the House introduced bill and in the Senate introduced bill. So we're, aside from the 5% cut and getting that restored to our budget, we're in pretty good shape. That's the appropriations request. Briefly on the bills, I was going to ask.
You can play right there. Oh, sorry. Should have muted myself.
I am like, real quick on the bills, I was going to ask Wesley and Scott to just mention what's going on with the bills being filed.
Sure. Members, in your media book on page 8 and page 9, we have the list of bills. The first table is the list of bills that were, or proposals that were approved by the board. You can see a big update from December as most all of the bills have now made it into a filed bill. In fact, since this report went out to you last week, we've had 2 more filed. So proposal 4 related to ensuring lawyer visitation to defendants held in out-of-county jails was filed as House Bill 2446 by Representative Canales. And Chair Collier filed House Bill 2608 for proposal number 5, which is the Managed Design Council bill relating to oversight boards and appointment in capital cases if they're authorized to do so. So we've got 2 new bills filed. And the only other update I would provide is that although the criminal jurisprudence had their first hearing on Monday, their first hearing where they're going to consider bills will be this coming Monday. And of our proposals, the first, number 1, number 3, and number 10 have all been set for hearing. So House Bill 372, House Bill 839, and House Bill 295. So they're going to be taken up on Monday afternoon. And she also set her separate bill, which is related to maximum caseload standards. That's on the other bills of interest chart below. The first one of those is also set. And that's really my update. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try and tackle them.
Thank you, Wesley. The last thing I was going to mention, we have, if you recall, TIDC really has kind of two websites. There's the public-facing website that explains what we do and gives folks a sense of the funding and the improvement and the oversight functions. And then there's the data website. And last time we spoke, we had updated, actually totally really redid and improved the primary website. So now if you go to tidc.texas.gov, you see a new, nice, kind of shiny website that we're pretty excited about. The data website, though, is still quite a bit older. It's over a decade old at this point. If you're not familiar with the data website, the link is in the notes here under the data website. But this is where we collect our indigent defense expenditure reports. This is where we collect the indigent defense plans. This is where we collect attorney reporting. And this is also where we put out all of this data to the world for researchers and reporters and legislators, and basically just for the public to digest. So it's a pretty big website. I think it's really, I thought this before I came into this role, and I think it today, that it really is one of the best indigent defense data websites in the nation. It's really rare to get this much information in one centralized place. But it is pretty old, over a decade old. So that's one issue related to the data website. The other is we've partnered for, basically since TIDC has been around, with Texas A&M's Public Policy Research Institute, or PPRI, on that data website. And the person who basically developed that website, James Van Beek, is retiring or in the process of retiring. So we started talking to a bunch of different data vendors. We've spoken with, I think, about a half a dozen potential data vendors about picking up the site. And what we learned from talking to a lot of private data vendors is that we would end up paying a lot more money with a company outside of Texas A&M. So we talked to from the big ones to very small kind of ma and pa shops, and eventually went back to Texas A&M and said, hey, this is what we're looking at. Is there any way we can keep on working with you all and maybe hire a new web developer at Texas A&M? And they seemed open to it. So we're going to keep on talking to them. There's no need for any kind of vote or action today, but it'll probably require a little bit more money. It certainly won't require as much money as if we went to one of these private vendors. But I wanted to put it on everyone's radar nice and early so that if there's a vote in the next, I don't know if it'll be the June meeting or the August meeting, that everybody's kind of prepped for that. So that's a little bit about the data website. I think that's my last update for the director's report, but I'm happy to take any questions that you all might have.
Okay, is it time then for the improvement team report? Who's going to do that?
Going to be me. Thank you, Judge Keller. If you can turn to page 10 of your board report, we have a quick update on what we've been doing with the improvement team. We have completed one planning study for Cochran, Hockley, Terry, and Yoakum counties. That was requested by Judge Pat Phelan. We have since gotten a subsequent request to add Lamb County to that planning study by Judge Klein, and so we will be doing that for them. We're also working on a planning study for Bexar County for a MAC there. We have been helping out Tom Green County and a number of surrounding counties on instituting a regional public defender office there and putting in a grant request to us for this next grant cycle. So that would be a total of 7 counties for that regional public defender. And then we've got a number, we've been helping out a number of other counties that you approved grants for last summer. So we've been helping Galveston set up their misdemeanor mental health public defender office, Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, their Atascosa area public defender, and the Harris County misdemeanor MAC. In all, we are aware of about 5 potential grants that could come in this summer that cover 15 to 16 counties to establish public defender offices and manage assigned counsel programs. Don't know for sure that they're all going to come in, but we think there's a pretty good chance of that. That is about it for me. I was going to turn it over to Kathleen to talk a bit about the Future Indigence Defense Leaders Program and the Juvenile Training Immersion Program.
Thank you, Scott. So just for a brief update on where we stand with our FIDL and JTIP programs. To start with the Future Indigent Defense Leaders Program, as kind of a brief recap, this is the program where we partner with TCDLA and the Harris County Public Defender's Office to pair young Texan lawyers with experienced Texan mentors, as well as send them to the nationally recognized Gideon's Promise training. Right now, the national training has been on hold, but here in Texas, we've been very busy. So throughout the pandemic, we have continued to meet virtually. One thing of note recently that I thought was really great was a get to know you lunch. So kind of just an unstructured virtual lunch for the mentees to kind of get to know each other and develop those peer relationships that hopefully they will have for the rest of their career. We also know that Gideon's Promise does have tentative dates set for July. So hopefully both our first and second cohorts will be traveling to Atlanta and resuming their training with Gideon's Promise. As far as JTIP is concerned, JTIP, of course, is the Juvenile Training Immersion Program. This is the really neat, innovative training that we are partnering with TCDLA on. We received money from the governor's office to help make this happen. We did extensive preparations on this program, and we were actually set to do the train the trainers portion of this event the week of the ice storm. And unfortunately, you know, most folks were otherwise occupied. And so the group came together and made a decision to reschedule for June. So this program that really brings a new, just a new way to think about juvenile defense and really helps train up people on how to give this training to others. That event is going to take place in June. And then hopefully we'll be able to have a mix of in-person and virtual events for the second phase, where we take the trainers and what they've learned, and then they go back out throughout the state to kind of bring this new knowledge to different parts of the state and the community. So lots of stuff happening, and really excited for what the rest of the year will bring.
Judge, real quick, if I may, I just want to thank Kathleen real quick for rolling with the punches on that. We thought it would be cruel to make people sit through 3 days of training during the snowstorm while they're shoveling snow to flush their toilets. So thank you, Kathleen, and thanks at TCDLA for rolling with the punches.
Okay, thanks. Next, I think we're to grants and reporting. Judge Maderi.
Judge, I'm happy to.
Yeah, thanks, Judge Keller. Edwin, you want to take over?
Sure, I'll address these next few items for you. The next item on our agenda is an update on the FY 2020 Indigent Defense Expenditure Report. As you'll recall, at our last meeting, we provided you with some preliminary figures about overall spending reported by the counties. And at that juncture, we still had incomplete data, and we were forecasting that overall county spending on indigent defense was down 37 million. Since then, we've completed our desk review of the Indigent Defense Expenditure Reports and done a number of, an extensive amount of follow-up with counties to as part of our desk review process. So the final figures for FY 2020, I can report to you now. Total county reported expenditures were 268.7 million. That's down from just over 300 million in FY19. So the actual difference, a substantial drop again of 31.4 million, or about 10.5%. As you all know, and as we discussed in December, that decline is I would say entirely due to the courts dealing with COVID-19 and very few cases being disposed. So we anticipate this, and this is the first year-over-year decline in indigent defense spending we've seen since the creation of TIDC. But again, very unusual circumstances. And based on everything that we do know, we expect that that trend will very quickly revert back to our kind of existing trend of gradually increasing expenditures on indigent defense. Anyway, these are the final figures. We may have some very minor corrections that come through on the back end, but nothing that's going to change the overall shape of those figures that are presented on your screen there. I'm happy to take any questions about that. If not, we can move over to Sharon for some financial updates.
Okay. U-turn. We're going to page 11, which is our Fair Defense Account revenue analysis. And as you can see, if you would look for year to date for FY21, we are down around 4 million compared to FY19. However, we do have enough in our unappropriated fund balance that we've accumulated over the past previous years to make sure that we should be sufficient to cover off any COVID-related declines. So we feel confident that even if we don't get in exactly what we've been appropriated, we have enough funds to cover our budget. On page 12 shows our status from a previous budget balances and pending grant obligations for FY19 and FY20. And as you can see for 19 and 20, we still have a number of grant obligations for those budget years, and that we will be carrying any unobligated funds over to the new year, anything that's left over after all obligations have been expended. So that's for page 12. And on page 13, we have our FY21 budget status report. And as you can see right now, we've only expended operational and administrative funds. However, we will be starting to process a large number of our pending grant payments, which will be reflected in the next report at the next board meeting. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Next, we have an update on the formula grant special conditions, and Doriana Torres will cover that for us. Doriana.
Thank you, Edwin. So if you please turn to page 14 of your meeting notebook, I'm going to give a quick update on the special conditions for our formula grants. As a reminder, these are conditions that are placed on awards to counties that are not in compliance with plan reporting or grant requirements. So as of this morning, March 4th, all counties have submitted their IDER. There are 6 counties that do not have an indigent defense plan in place. There are 11 counties that still owe us a Commissioner's Court resolution. And there are 8 counties that are not in compliance with court activity reporting requirements for the Office of Court Administration. Although I do want to point out that these numbers are in line with our previous non-COVID years, and that staff has been in contact with all of our outstanding counties.
Great, thanks, Doriana. Our next item, I believe, is considering a pending request for a grant modification that we received from El Paso County. So we provided El Paso a grant in FY 2020 for their program that has the public defender providing representation at automatic 48-hour bond review hearings. So that program had a delayed start in FY 2020, ended up operating for only half of the fiscal year. So when they wrapped up their initial year's grant, they had a large amount of the money that was appropriate or budgeted for equipment that was unspent. Normally, we give the county a full 12 months to expend their approved budget for equipment. And under these circumstances, after 6 months, they still had the lion's share of their equipment budget unspent. So what the county is asking for is that we augment their current year grant, FY 2021 grant, by $2,000 in order to meet some equipment needs that were pending. They still are in their first 12 months of operation, so this request is sort of an accident of timing, I think. The staff is certainly supportive of and recommending approval of that request. So that would augment their 2021 award by $2,000 to a total of $288,039 to support some equipment needs in the current budget year. And that amount is more than offset by unspent equipment budget in their initial year grant. And I know I'm happy to answer any questions, and I know we have a motion on that.
I'll move. This is Valerie Covey. I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I second Alex Bunny.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all. The next item on our agenda is a new technical support grant request we received from Collin County. The county is requesting a grant of $27,786, and this would be used for automation of the affidavit of indigence form, as well as developing some software to track and generate reports on attorney complaints that are received in the county. As you all would expect, Collin County's population is rapidly growing, as is their indigent defense caseload. What they're seeking to do here is just streamline the process by which arrestees apply for appointed counsel. There are a number of problems in the current paper-based system related to incomplete forms being filled out, or in many cases, ineligible paper forms being filled out with financial information. And of course, when that happens, the staff in the county have to go back to the defendant, and that can cause some delays in processing requests for appointed counsel. So the county is proposing to use a electronic content management system to develop and automate these forms, make them electronic. They're asking for some help for the equipment that would be put both in the courthouse and the jails to allow people who want to apply for appointed counsel to do so electronically and to address those problems of incomplete forms. The automated process would basically require that each required field be filled out before going on to the next question, so that the county believes that it would greatly streamline their processes. On the complaint management, the county currently is tracking the complaints that they receive regarding appointed counsel. However, they don't have a good way to track and sort that data and try to identify trends and red flags that are associated with certain types of complaints and certain attorneys. So by developing a database that can help them analyze, track, and report on that kind of complaint data, they and their judges can have more salient information available in terms of managing the list and who should be on the list, who might need some attention in terms of the attorneys who are providing representation there. So the county is proposing to do the bulk of the development of these systems with their existing IT staff. So while the grant does not include a county match, because the county staff is estimating about 120 hours of IT time, that's roughly, they valued at approximately $5,280. There is a substantial in-kind match that's proposed with the request for the software licenses and equipment that would be used to implement this plan. So we have, the staff does provide a positive recommendation for this. We do have with us today, if you have any questions, Elise Ferguson, who runs the Indigent Defense Department and the Mental Health Managed Assigned Counsel program in Collin County. So she is here with us if you have any questions, or I can address some of those questions perhaps as well.
Well, thank you for coming. I don't have any questions. Does anybody else have any questions? Or would you like to is there anything you'd like to say?
I have to try to get it off mute. Thank you for allowing me to come. We're really excited about this because we had come up with a system to track the attorney complaints that our judges have found incredibly useful when they're making a decision about who's going to be on the wheel and what attorneys may not need to continue on the wheel. But it was so time intensive for us to keep up with it that we feel this will give us a much better grasp on it and provide the judges so much more information. And we think it will be easy for other counties to replicate.
And Judge Keller,
I appreciate.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, Edwin.
I just wanted to add one point that we believe that this grant does comply with the cost containment budget rider that was placed on TIDC's appropriation in the last several legislative sessions. That basically directs us to look for opportunities like these where we can help to streamline the processes and help counties reduce the increases in cost associated with indigent defense. So that's another reason why we have provided a positive recommendation.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Is there a motion to award Collin County a technical support grant of $27,786?
This is
Yes?
Valerie Covey. I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, the motion carries, and I think this sounds great. So thank you for bringing it to us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you all. So we'll look forward to receiving that report, and Elise has agreed to develop a presentation after they implement the project to help other counties see how they might be able to replicate these ideas. The last item for our section of the agenda is a brief update on fiscal monitoring, which you'll see on page 27 in your board packet. We've completed a couple of, Deborah Stewart is unable to join us today. She had a death in the family. So just you can take a look at the report that she's provided beginning on page 27. We did complete fiscal monitoring reviews for Arion and Moore counties. Those were issued. We have a number of pending fiscal reviews that we anticipate will be issued in the next month or so. So by our next report, you'll see a number of additional reports out the door. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, that concludes the grants and reporting section.
Thank you, Edwin.
Where are we? I've lost my place on the agenda.
Ready to move? Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Policies and standards for Mr.
Okay,
Bonnet.
great.
Joel, you can just go ahead.
Okay, thank you. If you could, please turn in your meeting notebooks to page 31. This will be very brief. First, we have a review of our indigent defense plan submission and review process. Every 2 years, counties have to submit their indigent defense plans to us. The last deadline was November 1st, 2019. Since then, staff have been very busy reviewing the plans to be sure they meet all statutory and administrative requirements. Currently, there are 6 counties with plans that have not been marked as complete. They will all receive a grant hold. The 2 main reasons for this is that there have been changes to these plans, and there have been some judges who have not approved the plan. And once they hit the button, those counties will be marked as complete. And then we've also had some contracts that need to be uploaded to the plans. But once that's done, all the counties we expect will have complete plans, and we hope this will be completed very soon. If you could, please turn to the next page, page 32, for a summary of recent policy monitoring activity. Since the COVID outbreak, all of our reviews have been virtual. Since the December meeting, we have not issued any new reports. We're very close on 2 of them, Harris and Montgomery counties. For the other counties, we're doing those reviews virtually right now. We've had a couple instances where we'll actually have to go on site to complete the review. And in those instances, we'll have to delay issuing the report until we can get on site. And with that said, that completes the policy monitoring activity. And I would like to turn it over to Lindsay to talk about complaints.
Thank you, Joel. If you can turn to page 33 in your board book. This is a summary of recent complaints. Since the December 3rd, 2020 board meeting, TIDC has received 21 new complaints from 19 individuals. 1 complaint remains open from this set pending further investigation, and 20 complaints require no further action and have received follow-up correspondence or will receive follow-up correspondence. 9 complaints were forwarded on to local officials per the complaint policy. 4 referrals were made to Innocence Projects, 5 referrals to the Texas Jail Project, 11 to the State Bar, either their grievance system or the Client Attorney Assistance Program, 1 referral was made to the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, and 10 referrals were made to other outside entities. Regarding relevant complaints, we received a complaint from Rondal Scrogum, and this complaint was out of Cook County. Mr. Scrogum indicated that his attorney was not assisting him, and he had asked the judge numerous times for a new attorney. He's concerned that he won't be able to get good representation due to the fact that he can't afford to hire an attorney, and he's requesting an attorney that will listen to him and investigate his case. He also had some physical and mental health matters that he didn't believe were being adequately addressed. I wrote back to Mr. Scrogum and provided him with contact information for the Texas Jail Project concerning his physical and mental health matters while he's currently in custody, and also information for the State Bar of Texas Client Attorney Assistance Program. I also offered to forward a copy of his letter on to his attorney and judge if he could provide us with additional information. We also received a complaint from Michael Lee Hammond Jr. out of Collin County. Mr. Hammond wrote indicating that he was attempting to remove his attorney from his case and to get another attorney for numerous reasons, issues that he had with his attorney's representation, and that he hadn't been successful in doing so. He wrote that despite his complaints, the same person remains his attorney, but he doesn't trust that this attorney has his best interests in mind in order to go to trial with her. He indicated that he is indigent and unable to afford to hire an attorney and was not sure what steps he could take at this time. He also said anecdotally he had heard that this attorney had been removed from another case for potentially lying. Mr. Hammond will receive a response with a referral to the State Bar Client Attorney Assistance Program, and also an offer to forward his complaint on to his judge and attorney if you would like for us to do so and provide additional information. That concludes my report.
Lindsay, I have a question. I want to make sure that I understand what happened. On the 1 referral to the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, we just told him who could contact the State Commission, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, thanks. Is there anything else on the agenda? Jeff, I keep switching back to the agenda from the workbook.
Sure. No, I think Judge, we're okay. Unless there was anything else from the policy team or from Alex, I think we're all right.
All right. Alex, did you have anything else?
Let's see. No, just that the weather's great here.
I'm so glad. Okay. Jeff, are we on to the next meeting then?
I believe that's right.
Okay.
And I don't know that we have the date. Megan, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we have a time and date scheduled for the June meeting yet, but we're planning on sending out a scheduling poll in the next week or two. So I think that's where we're at, but we're looking at June though.
Okay. Any new business? Any public comment? Oh, let me thank everyone for attending. I think we're through. Alex, have fun.